Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like about this kind of stuff. It is one of those classic episodes today. What is going on? Welcome to the J&J Power Hour. We're here and we have no idea what we're really going to speak about today because that's just the vibe that we're going with today. I don't really have when you go into whatever you're doing, it doesn't have to be content, but just whatever you're doing, you have like a specific this is on my brain today. My brain's just kind of like goo today. I have nothing on my mind. Not in like a dumb way, just like I don't have anything of value in my brain right now. I had a bowl of fruit for breakfast this morning.
Delicious.
I had an apple, some banana, a bit of watermelon.
This was in the bowl.
Yeah, I just
apple, banana. All right,
and watermelon.
I love watermelon.
I just cut
Big
it
fan
up,
of watermelon.
Mixed it all together, had my coffee, and
did you buy the watermelon already pre-cut?
No, I didn't. I bought it all.
A whole ball.
I bought a quarter,
like a half.
A quarter. Yeah, cut some up, cut up an apple, cut up a banana, and was just like, I'm gonna have a bowl of fruit.
That sounds delicious.
I'm trying to eat a little bit better lately. I want to drop some weight and I got some resistance bands because I have no confidence to go to a gym just yet. But I'm not in a conscious I'm going on a diet and I'm gonna fucking do it. It's more just I just need I know it sounds bad, but aesthetically I'd like to look a bit better. But I just want to not feel so fucking gassed every day.
Yeah.
When you just eat like dirt and you just feel so fucking gassed. No matter how good the food is, I love food. Sign me up. A bag of chips, holy shit, yeah. But I'm so sick of just
I housed a bag of Doritos earlier.
That's what I mean. It's just
few and far between now. I don't do it as much as that used to be a daily. Ugh. I'm a big boy. I used to be bigger. I used to be a lot bigger.
It's hard to stop that habit. But they say it takes 21 days to break a habit. And I just want to see if I can do this for 3 weeks. If I can do this for 3 weeks, I feel like I can just do this and it will just become a part of...
Are you totally okay? So I know you said you got some resistance bands.
Yeah.
So you are totally comfortable and okay with working out in your home.
Yeah, I am. I'm that type. See, my problem is that I would love to go to a gym. I need someone to hold me accountable. That's my biggest thing is I need someone to go along with me. But then I hate relying on other people. That's my problem because then it will become a thing of they're not going, so I'm not going. And then I'll be so inconsistent. So I feel like this is a good way to start, get myself in a rhythm. I like going for a walk and sometimes even a little bit of a jog. I don't mind that. But it sounds really awful. But there's nothing weirder than when you see someone running down the street. It looks like they're trying to run from a criminal. It's what are you doing? And I don't want to be that bitch.
It's admirable to me. Because so there was the only time I've successfully had a gym routine was when I had a personal trainer. I had a personal trainer for 2 years of my life.
Is that it's so expensive.
It is, and it's probably even way more expensive than it was when I'm talking. I did this 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah,
and I saw him twice a week, and he whipped my ass.
Yeah,
but I was good at it. I liked doing that. I played I'm a big guy, but I've played sports my whole life. You would see me and you'd be oh, and then you would see me shoot a basketball and you'd be holy fuck, what the hell? Huh? And I'm I'm big, but I'm
athletic.
I can play sports. I'm athletic somewhat. So I was lifting and doing all that stuff and I felt great, but I needed him. If I was okay, I'm getting a gym membership and I'm going to the gym, I know what most of the machines do, but I don't know how to build a proper, is it back and shoulders?
Yeah,
and
I don't know what I'm doing either.
I don't know how the fuck that works.
But I was
have no idea how that works.
Some resistance bands and that. I was looking into what can you do from home that will replicate what you could do at a gym in some form. And they say resistance bands are actually really good. A lot of personal trainers resistance bands are great. They can give you a full body workout, get you moving, and they can be a good alternative to what you can do at a gym. And I was sure, let me go down. They're cheap as fuck. They're $10 and you can go down and get some resistance bands. And I was sure, let's just give this a try. So I did it yesterday and I was okay, I did it for 30 minutes just to see if I could just see what happens. And it does. Yeah. You build a sweat and shit, and you're holy fuck, this is a lot harder than it looks. Because you're just okay, sure, I can do this. But I'm whoa, I can actually feel it, which is what I don't mind. A good thing about me is that the motivation is there, and also I don't mind that kind of, I guess, a lack of a better term, but that pain. of like pushing through. Like I can, but
that's
like
a good pain, though. It feels good.
Yeah, like you can feel it working. Like because I'm so short, any weight that I put on looks so intense because I'm so short. It's not that I would even consider myself that big. It's just I'm so short that it all just goes to my stomach, and I'm just like, for fuck's sake! Like you can tell when I've had a bad meal because I'm just like, well, it goes straight to my tummy because I've got no height for anywhere of this to go. It just goes straight to one spot. So I just like to lose some of that and just get a little bit more active and just not feel like so gassed all the time because you just like I can get in that zone where I'm just like couch potato and I'm just like feeling like dirt and I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired and so drained. Like I just want to be able to get to the afternoon and just go, okay, I have some energy to like get through. Even like this morning, even just like little things I noticed, like changing up your diet a little bit can help you a lot. Like yesterday I ate like crap and I felt like crap. The day before I ate good and I felt good all day. Like that headache didn't come through, that kind of just sluggishness. I'm so sick of that. So I just want to get myself in, and getting in a better sleeping routine in that too is pretty paramount to me as well. I need to get just consistent. It's not even so much about staying up late. It's that if I'm going to stay up late, I need to make sure that I go to bed at the same time every night, get up at the same, like I got myself out of bed this morning because I'm like, all right, I'm not going to sleep in. I want to get up and just, if I could just sleep from midnight till 8 every day, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I think that would be solid.
Just a solid. And I slept from just before midnight straight through until like 7:30. And I was like, that's pretty good. Like I got like a solid sleep. So that's nice. But I just want to start feeling a bit better, looking a bit better, and just taking care of myself a little bit more because I'm not saying everyone's going to be like, Josh, you're not old. But like, as you do get older, like I can't eat the same way I was when I was 19.
You're not. No.
I can't. Like when you're 19, you can just kind of eat and you're just like, I feel fine. But now you're like, shit. Like I feel.
Yeah. Wait till you hit 30.
Yeah, exactly. And
once you hit 30, it's just a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to start. I just want to start. I'm already short, so I need to make sure that and also I want to get into working out so I'm not sore so often. Like I'm just going to bed at night, my back's sore, my legs are sore because I am carrying a little bit of extra weight. And again, I'm short, so it's not in proportion to what you should be for this height. Because you're relatively short as well.
I'm short too. I'm shorter too. I think I'm taller than you.
Oh, you're taller than I'm 5'4",
but I'm short.
I'm short.
Yeah, I'm short. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Help. Like I'm big, and it's really like most of it is right here in the belly, but it just looks worse because I'm 5'6.5".
If you were 6'5",
if I was even 5'10", if I was 5'10", I would look husky.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
But because I'm 5'6", it's like, oh, that again, like I'm, it would be like, oh, that guy's big. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking short. It is what it is. But I'm like you. I need someone to, like, I have a Peloton. Literally right here.
Yeah.
I own a Peloton. And I don't use it nearly enough. I use it because it was expensive.
Even like a treadmill or something, because sometimes I like to go for a walk. I don't use it nearly.
There is no excuse why every day I cannot come into this room and take 20 minutes and do something on that Peloton.
Yeah.
But it only happens twice a week, maybe 3 times if I'm, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, because you get home from work, and then now because I'm not on a good routine, and I would need, the 21 days to break a habit or whatever.
Well, that's what they say. I don't know how true
that's what they say. But like, if I was in a good routine, I'd be fine. But now that I'm not, when I come home from work, sometimes I'm like, I just want to sit on the couch. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's my problem. Is I
just want to play video games in the room here. Like, I want to sit here and play video games.
My biggest problem I have is that I get it in my brain. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Then it gets time and I'm like, fuck it. And I have no willpower to like stop me from just saying the fuck it. Instead of just even if you don't feel like doing it, just some is better than nothing. And I'm just trying to start slow. And the only way I can hold myself accountable is I put it up in my circle tweet last night. I'm like, I want to do this. I put a thread. And I'm just going to be like, because if I don't do this, then there's at least some people seeing it and going like, oh, here he goes again. He's not doing it. It's like, no, I want to prove to myself and prove to other people that I can actually do this. And again, just get consistent. Like, I know that I can do it. Like, I just just want some, I guess it's a stability thing too, because it's just something that no one else is in control of but me. I can control that. I'm a bit of a person that likes to contain, maintain control of a lot of situations that I usually can't have any control of, but that's just how my brain is wired. This is something that only I can do. No one else can do this for me. Like, I have to do, people can help me, but ultimately, I'm the only person that can do that. And just taking out the temptation out of my house too. Like, not having chocolate in the fridge, not having chips in the cupboard. Like, stuff like that, I can maintain. If I don't have it in my house, I can't eat it. That's
sure.
Like, I'm not going to be, I never want to be one of those people that deprives myself of having stuff that I like.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anything like this is the word that I'm getting used to, is moderation. It's just like, you can have it sometimes. It's fine. Don't feel, I don't want to become that like obsessive person over food where I'm like, oh my God, like I can't, I never want that. So, but I've never been one to really just, you got to, as you do get older, you have to start kind of thinking about like, okay, I feel fine now. What am I going to feel like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Like, I do want to live a relatively nice life. I don't want to be unhealthy to the point where I'm just like dying at fucking 50.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I want to get better at that. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, but
just gotta stick with it.
I'm gonna try.
I'll hold your ass accountable.
Yeah, do it.
If you want me to.
Call me a fat
If you want me to, I will
that.
hold your ass accountable. I'll see
I
you every time we record, and that'll be I'll be like, what's going on? But how you been holding up? And I'll get on you if you want me to.
And then I eventually do want to gain. My problem is I'm not really a person that has a lot of shame, and I don't really get embarrassed very easy. But just in that area of life, I don't have any self-confidence, and because I don't know what I'm doing, it just makes my anxiety go like, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not fucking doing that. But
well, you grew up chubby, right?
I was a lot
when you were younger.
Oh my God, I was I don't know what it translates into pounds. But at my heaviest, I was like 15, and I was like 90 kilos.
90, like 90, 19,
90
I
kilos,
don't
which I don't know what that
translates
to,
either,
but I was a big boy, and then I lost a bunch of weight. I lost like nearly 20 kilos over like a year and a half, and I dropped all this weight, and then it's just kind of been steady. I've gone up and down a little bit. I fluctuated a little bit over the years. But I remember like looking on the scales when I was like 16. I'm like, I am a fat ass. And I was like, I need to do something here. And I got pretty good. And just also when you're 16, your body's changing so much.
Yeah.
I grew a little bit and stuff like that. And just kind of your hormones are going crazy at that time in your life. So I feel like in some ways it was harder but easier, but just because my body was probably helping me along because you were just younger. Yeah. So it was, but I've just kind of, I'm not that big now at all. But it wasn't fun. But I just want to, I feel like I'm in the right headspace to be like, no, this is the time to do this. And I've tried before and just fell off the wagon. But again, I'm not going like super strict with everything because that's when I know that I'll go crazy. If I just kind of just focus on the one step at a time thing, like, okay, just do this and do this and do this, and just eventually build up to the point where I can just maintain consistency with it, I'll be happy. And I'm off work for 3 weeks now too, so this is kind of the perfect time.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I wish.
I can kind of take control of it while I'm not at work, get control of it, and then when I go back to work, be like, okay, I have a plan in place here that I've been doing. So that will be nice as well. And the good thing about me doing stuff at home is that I can literally do this at any time of the day.
Exactly.
So I am going to try and get a routine of like the times that I do it. But yeah, I just want to see what I can do. And it is kind of fun to just be like, what can your body actually do?
Oh yeah.
Let's just have that
was the one thing the personal trainer told me is I was one of those people, especially when I first started getting in a routine. He'd be like, all right, we're doing this exercise. And I'd be like, fuck, I hate this exercise. And he would be like, well, we're doing it. And we would do sets. Like you're doing 20 of those and then 10 of these. And then for 5 minutes. And then we'll give you a minute break or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to die. And he was like, no, you're not. And I'd be like, I'm going to die. And then I would be doing it like, I'm going to die. Like breathing, like, I'm going to die. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, you're not. He's like,
that's what I need.
He's like, you do not know what your body is capable of. Your body is capable of crazy things. You're not going to die. What you're going to do is you're going to do it. You might feel like shit after, maybe vomit, maybe, but 2 weeks from now, this will be easier to you.
Yeah. That's what I need.
You would just fucking get after me. And
if I was a rich boy, I would just go down to the gym and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need someone that can help me. And then one of the people would walk out and they would just be like, this is what you're doing. This is what you're eating. This is what you're going to do today. And you're not going to like it. And too bad. And that's what I kind of need. I kind of need someone. I work well with discipline. And I work well with someone just being like, this is what you're doing. So I do need that. And eventually I do want to have that. But just see to what I can do on my own first and do what's in the limit of my budget at the moment. Because everything's just so expensive. But
that's brutal.
We'll see. We'll watch this space, I guess, and we'll see. Left turn of just a left of field kind of turn here, but Aubrey Plaza, you know the actress.
I do. I like Aubrey.
Okay,
Plaza.
so I love her because she's fucking cooked. She's the weirdest.
Did you see her preview for the new movie? Her new movie.
I don't watch a lot of movies, but what's she in?
It's like oh my god, it's not a comp. It's like a thriller.
Oh,
yeah. Well, after the show, go and then message me on Twitter. But go try to see the trailer. But anyway, I'm sorry, wherever you go.
So Aubrey Plaza is like the weirdest human being in the world, and I love that about her. If you watch her interviews, she's like, some people don't even know how to take her because they're like, is this woman for real?
She's like constantly on. Like I feels like she's constantly on.
So like she is just. I love that because I can tell that she's just like people are weird, and I'm just gonna be weird. She's not that like Hollywood like I'm just gonna answer the right way. She's just like I was watching like a compilation of like Aubrey Plaza's weirdest moments or something like that, and she was on Conan like years ago, and he was like, "Do you say
I used to love Conan.
Me too. Do you say chimpanzee or do you say chimpanzee or chimpanzee?" And she was like, "Fork." And I was just like, that is the fucking strangest answer in the world.
It's so stupid.
But
I bet you the audience lost their shit.
The audience went quiet.
Oh, really? They went
I feel like she likes the uncomfortable.
I thought there would be a couple people just cackling.
It was, but it was like awkward.
Yeah.
But like, she is just. I don't know what I've loved her for years. I've loved obviously Parks and Rec is a big and she was April, and April is like the fucking weirdest bitch.
Oh yeah.
And my sister is exactly like that. So my sister is April Ludgate to a T.
All right.
My sister's hella weird like that. Like very like just monotone, like her humor not everybody gets, but like if you get it, it's hilarious. That's how she is. And like so April is just Aubrey Plaza is just anything that I've seen her in. She just excels in, but like her just being herself is just like I was watching she was doing something, you know, those, I don't know if it's like Cosmopolitan or if it's Vanity Fair. They do their videos.
Those are both big time magazines.
They do those videos. Like they do those videos where they break down their career. And she was like watching herself and she, you know, she's explaining blah, 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 blah. Then she gets to the end and she goes, I'm going to go to trial now and defend all of my clients. And the video just ended. And I was like, what the fuck? Some people in this world probably think she's being so serious. But like, if you can just see that humor, that is the humor that pops me. It's just like that, like stuff that's just so out there that you're just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand what's going on because my brain works like similar to that. I'm just very odd in the stuff that I say. And like whatever kind of comes, I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense. That's how I feel she is. And I feel like the reason I'm bringing this up is because in a world that in 2022 especially, I feel like in the celebrity world, there's not many people like that because they're trying to say what's right.
Politically,
yeah. And like
politically correct, right?
She's not saying stuff that's like out there like, oh my God, like, oh God, she's just saying stuff to say stuff. She's just being herself. And I kind of feel like there's value in that. But that's just, I was watching stuff beforehand and I was like, oh man, like Aubrey Plaza is just odd. Because when you think about it, there's not many celebrities that you just watch wherever that are just, they're always just trying to kind of say what's right. Because understandably in the world that we live in, it's so easy to get cancelled. And nothing that Aubrey Plaza is saying is cancel worthy, but she's just fucking cooked, and it's great. I love every single minute of it. She's kind of like what you should aspire to be in a lot of ways, and it's not for everybody.
No,
I can see why some people would be like, I don't get this.
It's for her. It's for her. She's doing that for her, you know? Like, she's like, you know what? I got to do all this shit. Like, I'm just going to be fucking weird.
She's just weird. And I mean that in a very endearing way. Weird is good. Be weird. Like, everybody is weird. Everyone has their stuff.
We're all weird. We're all very weird.
Yeah, we're weirdos. And
I think, you know, people just need to understand, like, people just need to understand that, like, we're all weird.
Yeah.
To somebody, we're all fucking weird. I do podcasts talking about professional wrestling.
That's fucking cool as fuck too.
Yeah, it is cool as fuck, but we're weird. Like, we're all nerds. We're all weird.
It's weird as fuck.
Like,
I don't understand.
We're all everybody is weird.
Yeah, everyone has their stuff.
The movie that she's in is called Emily the Criminal.
Oh.
That's what it is.
I remember her in Scott Pilgrim versus the World as well.
Oh my god, one of the all-time
greats. That is a fucking movies. Cooked as fuck. That movie is fucking strange.
Incredible.
It is so odd, movie. But it's great.
The cast of that movie is insane.
Yeah, if you were to look that movie up on Wikipedia and you were to look at the cast of that movie, you'd be like, what? Like, if you've never seen that movie.
Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Aubrey Plaza, Kieran Culkin, Brie Larson, Chris Evans, Jason Schwartzman, Brandon Routh, Anna Kendrick, Mae Whitman.
All people, by the way, or at least majority of them, you're like, Chris Evans. Okay? Chris Evans
Captain
is like
America.
Captain America. Brie Larson is Captain Marvel? Yep, Captain Marvel. Aubrey Plaza's done, I mean, have you ever seen the movie Dirty Grandpa?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Her and fucking Robert De Niro go
De Niro.
at it.
Yeah.
Like, she's just, oh, my God, that's so weird. But circle back to her in Parks and Rec. I don't know how much Parks and Rec is like my sentimental favorite show of all time. I love Parks and Rec with all of my heart. Because that cast, by the way, brilliant.
Fantastic.
I mean, you've got Amy Poehler, who's, I mean, if you don't know who Amy Poehler is, you're probably living under a bridge. She's done Mean Girls, Saturday Night Live. Like, would you call her a Saturday Night Live legend? She's like a.
I would, yeah.
She's like she was in like a pretty good
cornerstone.
Good group of people in Saturday Night Live's history. She's obviously done multitude of movies. She's best friends with Tina Fey. She's done heaps of stuff.
Legend herself, Tina Fey.
Oh yeah, Tina Fey, great. 30
Mean
Rock.
Girls. 30 Rock, Mean Girls.
Mean Girls is. I mean, I'm gonna bring back up Mean Girls again in a minute. But Parks and Rec, like Amy Poehler was the. I guess you call her the lead.
The lead.
She was the lead.
100%.
Leslie Knope, one of the greatest characters ever created.
Fantastic.
in sitcom history. It's if you've never watched Parks and Rec, it's The Office.
Oh, I love it.
Basically, it's the same creators, it's the same vibe. I think
I
The
always
Office
enjoyed it more.
Well, I see. So sentimentally, it's my favorite show ever because I watched it first. But I think The Office is all round a better show. But I think I still will always enjoy Parks and Rec more just for what it brought to me. But Amy Poehler's in that. Chris Pratt is in that. Obviously, he went on to do fucking everything. Really,
everything.
You had Adam Scott, who's done. If you don't know who Adam Scott is, he plays Ben, and I mean, he's been in so much stuff that sometimes you don't even realize.
He's the dickhead brother in Step Brothers, which is fantastic. He was also in a show Party Down, which if anybody's never seen Party Down, it was on Stars, but I don't know what streaming service it's on. You could probably find it. There was like 3 seasons. It's a good cast. He's the lead, and they're basically it's a group of kids who work for a catering company for that, like cater richer things, but it's about like all their relationships and just the craziness that happens but at work and stuff like that. It's very, very, very funny. But anyway.
Adam Scott is hilarious, by the way. He does great takes to the camera. He's always like looking, because I love that. The Office and Parks and Rec do that so well, of just like that mockumentary style, which I love because
that's what I liked about Modern Family, when they would have the interviews where they were looking at the camera.
Sure,
again, not to that level.
No, I get
But when
that.
they were like looking at the camera and they would say something and kind of like look at the camera, like you, just
like I
when they acknowledge the camera.
I mean, John Krasinski, Jim, will always be like
of
the master of just like those. I mean, the Jim look, that's what it's called. Is just like looking at the camera and just being like, what the fuck? But Adam Scott did that great as Ben. Rob Lowe was in Parks and Rec. I mean, Rob Lowe is like, I mean, Rob Lowe has been around for fucking ever. Like, he's just always been kind of on television or in movies or whatever. Aubrey Plaza, and kind of the list goes on and on of people in that show. But Parks and Rec will always hold that kind of, I feel like The Office, Parks and Rec will be shows that kind of will stand the test of time. You can kind of watch them at any time and still laugh. I still laugh at The Office and Parks and Rec, and I've seen them a lot. Like I've watched those a lot, and I still laugh. There's a scene in Parks and Rec that will go down as one of the greatest scenes of all time, and it's when they're first campaigning for Leslie becoming city councilwoman, and they're on the ice ring, and they keep falling over, and the fucking Gloria Estefan is playing, and it's like stops and keeps going. You know the scene that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And like, it's just the most ridiculous thing. I think what those shows do best is some of the concepts that they do and some of the comedy that is in those shows is not like normal multicam sitcom, and it's not like just like punchline haha. It's like so ridiculous that only in certain situations would it work. And I feel like that kind of comedy is the stuff that I like, because it's not just like joke, laugh. Like, it's situationally funny, and just, I mean, I feel like Parks and Rec, Office.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Briefly. I don't know. I didn't love
like recently?
I haven't watched it recently, no. But I feel like what took me away from that kind of show, and in the difference from Parks and Rec and The Office, is that the casting was brilliant. Because it wasn't just like the people that were in it. Arrested Development had funny people, but I don't necessarily think all of them together made it wonderful. That, in my opinion. But like The Office and Parks and Rec was the perfect group of people that all complemented each other well.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I agree.
But yeah, like I've watched a little bit. I've tried to get into Community, but it just I always kind of drop off. I don't know what it is about Community that I can't just stick with it. But
how about like recent? Oh, sorry.
No, go on. You go for.
I was gonna say, for recent television shows, have you watched What We Do in the Shadows?
Don't even know what that is.
Have you heard of What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of.
Have I told you about this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, it's on Hulu. I don't know. Do you?
We don't get Hulu.
You have Hulu
but
okay,
we usually get it on other things. But anyway.
Okay, but it's called What We Do in the Shadows, and it's about vampires, but it's a half-hour comedy though. Oh. It's a half-hour comedy. It's written by Taika Waititi, who I don't know if you've heard of him. He did God, I'm trying to think of the last couple of things. He wrote the movie that was nominated for Best Picture a couple of years ago about like Hitler, about the little kid.
I think so. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go on.
Jojo Rabbit, that's what that was. He wrote that. There's a movie, What We Do in the Shadows, that him and Jermaine Clement, who was in the Flight of the Conchords comedy group, which
I know
amazing.
What Flight of the Conchords. What a time!
Oh my god, the best! I fucking love Flight of the Conchords. But Jermaine Clement, him and Taika Waititi wrote, and they starred in the movie What We Do in the Shadows, and now Jermaine Clement writes the TV show, and Taika Waititi produces it.
Okay.
And he's been on a couple episodes and stuff, but it's literally about a group of vampires who live in New York City. And it's just one mayhem. Of, if not the funniest, it's about pure mayhem.
Yeah.
And it's one of, if not the funniest show on television. It's unbelievable.
I know, like, I've talked about Veep before a lot, and how Veep doesn't get, I don't feel like it got a lot of like critically acclaimed success, but I don't feel like everyone's watched Veep, and actually how clever and like kind of in like, it's intense comedy, and it's very like this shit goes on all the time in the world of politics, but you don't have to know about politics. It's not like a politically, they never side with a party. They're just like, it's just like the wild world of Washington, I guess you could say. But I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is hilarious, and I think a woman that doesn't get enough credit, by the way, of how fucking great she is. But Veep, she plays Selena Meyer, and she's at the beginning of the show, she's the vice president she's the Veep, and it's I mean, it was on HBO in America, so you could imagine it's a bit brash and it's a little bit, it can.
Well, and that's what I like. I like shows like it. If you're on HBO and you can, like, let's face it, you can swear, you can show some like adult situations and things like that you can on cable. That's my wheelhouse. Give me like an adult comedy. That's my wheelhouse. Again,
great cast. Anna Klumsky's in that show. Reed Scott's in that show. They do
Anna Klumsky is My Girl, right? My Girl.
Yeah,
she's the main in the My Girl movies, right?
Yeah.
That's I know her from.
It's a wonderfully written show. It goes for 7 seasons. I think there's like 10 episodes a season, something like that.
That's not bad.
And it's a brilliantly
half hour, right? Half hour comedy.
Yeah,
right?
half hour. Yeah, it's half hour. Yeah. And Tony Hale's in it, who is in Arrested Development.
Buster.
Like Tony Hale plays, I think he's the shining light of that show. He plays Gary, and he's like Selena's right-hand man, like he's her bag man. And like, but just the dynamic of that cast, and again, it's not punchline in that, but it is very intense in some situations. But again, I don't think it's a show that not everybody is watching. It's just really, really, really. I think it's like it's not my favorite show ever. It's in there, but it's like, it's just perfect the way it kind of happens and how, again, ridiculous it can be, but just a really well-written show. I was going to talk to you before we move on to other things. Mean Girls, Tina Fey, Lindsay Lohan, Amy Poehler's in that.
Rachel
McAdams. That movie, I know it kind of, we're a different age bracket, but that movie, when I was growing up, I mean, it's just a movie that will just be forever instilled in this generation of people forever. Like, it's just ridiculous how insane that movie and the lengths that movie was. By any stretch of the words, it's not a perfect movie, but like, my fucking God. I mean,
it's pretty freaking good.
It's the most quotable movie that I think I've ever watched.
I was going to say, my group of friends still to this day will spout off.
I got a big lesbian crush on you. That's like my favorite thing in the whole world. And just like made out with a hot dog. There was one time.
Yeah.
Regina.
Yeah. Oh my God, Danny DeVito. I love that.
I love your work. And he's just like in the thing.
I love your work.
And it's just like my favorite. Regina George is a fugly slut.
A fugly slut. My favorite line is when the principal is in the auditorium and he goes, they're trying to figure it out. He goes, I will keep you here all night. And then someone leans in. Technically or legally, we can't keep them past 4. I will keep you here till 4.
Yeah.
Like, just immediately.
It's so good. And like,
oh my God, it's so good.
And it's just like the way that movie happens, and it's just, it still stands up now of like, high school is no, obviously it's exaggerated and all that bullshit.
Yeah, but of course, it's the exaggerated drama of it.
But there is elements of that I'm like, I remember that at school. Yeah. Like there was
it's
those
not a
girls,
crazy out of the box
guys.
Example of what high school kind of is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's probably worse now, but who knows?
Imagine it would be worse.
I can't imagine as generations go with more technology and just things like that. Like how insane it's going to be keep being a kid. Like how much more shit. When I was a kid, I'm 37. When I was 7, I didn't know shit.
My little brother's nearly 13 and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know shit. There were no computers.
Yeah.
There were no cell phones. TV was maybe 40. I didn't know shit about anything. And now, I mean, I see my 3-year-old cousins. And again, they're 3, but they're playing games on iPads and things like that. I couldn't have done that shit
we were like,
when I was 3.
Something that I always like find really fascinating when I talk to people of different ages is that my age was the first generation that had that at school. We had iPads and we had...
That's wild to me.
Like we were the introduction generation to that at school. Like we had MacBooks and we had iPads and we had phones and like... like that's crazy to me that I was
insane.
like,
I had to write my book reports.
I did
write them.
But we were like learning too, but because teachers were still learning about this technology, and it was like kind of that in between of like when I was in high school, and got like we all got given MacBooks from school, like you paid so much and you get given them, but it was still like that in between of like what do we write, what do we use here, or can we use the iPad? Like it's so weird that we were the introductory generation to that concept, and now it's just all crazy. Done like. My little brother is just going into, I guess, what you would consider middle school. And like everything's done on a computer. He just logs into the thing, gets his homework, downloads it, and just does it all and sends it to the teacher. I'm like, you don't even have to hand in homework anymore. You just do it on your computer and send it through. And I
mean, good for. I mean, that seems so much more convenient. But like, I can't even fathom it. I can't even fathom.
Oh, I can't process it either. Trust me, I cannot process any of that bullshit. I just don't. It's so insane. But by the way, Mean Girls came out in 2003, I believe.
Yeah,
and it's
still about coming up on 20 years.
It still holds up. For that next year. Oh, I don't ever want them to make more. Like, no, they won't. I don't think they will. Too, but it was like not like what it was.
Yeah, I don't think they will. But like they'll release the 20th anniversary.
I know Lindsay Lohan has been through a lot of stuff in her life, but I feel like she's in a good place now. Like
I feel like she's okay.
Yeah, I feel like she's in a good place now, and Lindsay Lohan was like
it.
She was when I was like 9, 10,
Freaky
11.
Friday.
Freaky Friday.
Mean Girls.
Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Yeah,
great
that one.
movie.
There was another one I thought.
She did Life Size with Tyra Banks. Do you remember that movie?
I don't. She did a car movie, a Disney Herbie.
Herbie Fully Loaded.
Herbie Fully Loaded.
Come on, baby.
And then when she was younger, she did The Parent Trap. That was kind of her first thing. The original, excellent movie. That remake, also excellent.
I've only ever watched.
That's just a great concept, that movie, because both those movies are very good.
I can still watch The Parent Trap to this day and just be like, this is just a wholesome, beautiful movie.
Yeah, you're 10 years younger than me. So you were too young for the Mary-Kate and Ashley phase.
Oh, absolutely not, baby. Okay, New York Minute. They used to have every movie. Takes Two. Yeah, I remember It Takes Two. Do you remember The Challenge? They had a movie called The Challenge. They were like the ones where you'd go to like Blockbuster and there'd be a section and they were just in like 400 movies. And you were like, what the fuck? Mary-Kate and I didn't watch Full House because I was too young for that.
Full House is fantastic. That would be a show you could go back and watch. It probably some of it wouldn't age well because it was corny as fuck, a lot of it. But
they were in that, obviously.
Yeah.
I grew up, Mary-Kate and Ashley, baby. I grew up with New York Minute is one of the movies that is so...
New York Minute, yes.
It's not a great movie, by the way. It's really not. Eugene Levy's in it too. But it's a pretty horrible movie, actually. But it's like one of those movies that you watch when you grew up and you're like, no, this is fantastic. The concept of the movie is ridiculous. It's just literally they skip school to go watch a Simple Plan video shoot.
I mean, who didn't do that when we were in high school?
And then they get lost in New York City.
Yeah.
Basically.
They were, so I was young. Oh my God. I was young when Full House came out, but I think it came out in like 88, 89. So I was a kid. But when they were doing, so we have a channel, ABC. Yeah, ABC over here. And on Friday nights, TGIF. They had Thank God It's Friday, TGIF. And it was Full House, Family Matters. And there were, it would rotate, but there was like 4 shows. It was a 2-hour block. Yeah. And Full House was like the Home Improvement with Tim the Two-Man Taylor and stuff.
I remember Home Improvement.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Dreamboat. He was a Dreamboat. All my female classmates were all about JTT back in the day.
Into China here, but you remember Saved by the Bell?
Oh, that one of my favorite shows of all time. You remember? Okay, I don't know if you've watched these or if anybody does, but if you go on YouTube, just type in Zack Morris's Trash. It is one of the funnier video. There's a ton of them, so you can get lost in it. But it's basically this guy where he talks about a single episode in every video. It's maybe don't quote me. It's probably 5 to 10 minutes per video, and he's just talking over the video as it's showing clips of like basically the summary of the episode. And it's all based on how much of a piece of shit human being Zack Morris is.
Oh, I mean,
but it's like done in a comedy way.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And obviously when you're watching Saved by the Bell, like Zack is shitty, but he's the main person. You love Zack. He's the main person.
Sure, yeah.
But like, and the whole thing is like, Zach Morris is trash. So he talks about it. And then he goes, yeah, so this whole episode, Zach did this. And he told Slater that his mother didn't love him and all this stuff. And he did this just so he could go out with Kelly on Friday night. Zach Morris is trash.
Just like that. Saved by the Bell is like, again, a show that I like was like chiming in on the end of and remember watching when I was a kid. But again, I was a little bit too young, but I still remember watching it because my generation, if to give you anybody a time span of what I grew up with was, I remember watching Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens and That's So Raven and Ned's Declassified.
Even Stevens was Shia LaBeouf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that one. Lizzie McGuire, I was like, yeah, you were probably like my sister watched that.
Hilary Duff was
3 years younger.
Hilary Duff was
Hilary Duff was it. She was
it
for a while.
She was it because then she had music and then she kind of. Again, I've said this many times. Hilary Duff is like the unproblematic
her sister
one.
Started acting.
She was kind of she was in Lizzie McGuire a few times. Haley Duff.
Yeah.
They had the cover of that. You know that song? Can you see? We talk about us telling lies. Well, that's no surprise.
No.
I'm trying to think of the chorus and I can't think of it. I'm gonna look it up.
It was a cover song?
Yeah, they covered it. I'm gonna look it up because now it's bothering me because I can't think of the title and everyone's gonna be like, Josh, our lips are sealed.
All right.
Yeah, they did a cover, her and her sister. I think Haley's a little bit older than Hilary.
Older, right?
Yeah. But Lizzie McGuire was like the shit for me, like that and that.
Kim Possible?
Yeah, Kim Possible, baby. That was on Disney. So I was a Disney kid growing up. I did watch Nickelodeon as well. But it's hard to talk about Nickelodeon shows now because of what's transpired with. Have you heard all the?
No, I loved Nickelodeon when I was a kid. Some of my favorite shows were fucking
like
Nickelodeon
the shows that I watched were created by a guy named Dan Schneider. And
was he? He wasn't.
He's like
not good.
A bit of a sexual harasser.
Yes.
Like iCarly and Victorious and Zoe
that was past my
101.
time. Yeah.
You probably, if I go deep,
I know iCarly. Like I know what iCarly is. The other ones I've never even heard. I think I was already like.
So have you kept up to kind of what's going on in the last 3-4 weeks? Jeanette McCurdy was on iCarly. She played Miranda Cosgrove, who was in School of Rock.
Yes.
She was she was Carly, and her best friend was named Sam. That was played by Jeanette McCurdy. And she just released a book called I'm Glad My Mum Died. I know it's a big
I've heard about this book.
So yeah, Jeanette was really treated awfully by her mother. She was the one who got her into child acting, and Nickelodeon tried to cover up a lot of stuff with Jeanette McCurdy's time on iCarly and Sam and Cat because there was a lot of sexual misconduct and a lot of pedophilia kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And they tried to pay her $300,000 in hush money. And she said, get fucked.
No. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
But, I mean, that book is more about her relationship with her mum. And like her mum got her into an eating disorder. Her mum showered with her until she was like 19 years old.
Really? What?
Yeah, did a lot of fucked up shit. I suggest anybody, I know the title is very intense and people are like, what? If you read the book, which I have done, I got it on, what's that, when you get it on iPad? What's
Kindle?
Yeah, it's like, you get it as an ebook. Anyway.
Yeah, an ebook.
She went through and again, I'm just kind of brushing over everything, but yeah, her mum got her into an eating disorder. She showered with it until she was like 18, 19 years old. She got her into child acting. She was like, they were Mormon growing up. It was a whole thing. But I'm glad my mum died is genuinely like a thing. Like I'm glad my mum is dead. I think there is some. Again, she even said this in interviews because I understand what the title is. It's a attention-grabbing title. I get it. But if you actually read the context and be like, family is a very... I'm very weird on family. And, like, I'm not a believer of just because someone is family, you have to be nice to them or even like them or even love them.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who does have... I won't go too deep, but, like, as someone who does have a non-existent relationship with my dad, if my dad was to die... I don't necessarily think I'd be happy, but I definitely wouldn't be sad.
Yeah.
The feeling would be pretty neutral because I've had such a horrible relationship with him growing up. So, like, I understand. When I read that title, I wasn't like, I was like, no, I let me read this and let me get this. And it's weird because she's a child star but it's a very relatable story. And
yeah,
it's done in a, like, there's bits of it, it's comedy. Like, that book is pretty funny. And the way that she talks about it, even if you just type in Jeanette McCurdy on YouTube, she has a ton of interviews. She's been doing a ton of press, and she kind of tackles her issues in a way that's funny, but not in like a funny, like, ha ha ha, like, fuck you, like, kind of way, but like a sense of humor. And I think that's important. That's how I deal with a lot of stuff, is with a sense of humor, not to diminish any of that kind of bullshit. It's just like, that's just how to process some things. And I think that's important. Sometimes stuff that is heavy doesn't have to just be like crying and anger. Like, it can be funny. Like, I look at a lot of stuff like that that's funny. So, but yeah, I know, I don't know how much of a reader you are, JPJ, but I mean,
I do read, but probably not as much as I should.
It's a very interesting book for anybody to read, whether you know who Jeanette McCurdy is or not. It's just a very, very interesting story. But yeah, there's a whole thing of like, it's hard for me to watch a lot of those shows that I watched growing up on Nickelodeon, just because I'm like, oh, like, for example, this is how fucked up it was, but because I was a child, because all of us were children watching this. Like,
yeah, we don't know.
So apparently the rumor and innuendo is that Dan Schneider had a foot fetish. And by the way, I just have to preface this, that most of the actors on these shows were underage. They were teenagers, 13, 14, 15, 16.
I didn't make that noise.
Ariana Grande was on Victorious, and she was like 17. So, and there was a scene with her in particular that she has her feet out and she's rubbing tomato sauce on it, or ketchup, you would call it. And she's just putting it on there, and it's funny. And as a kid, you're just like, ha 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 ha. And then,
but now that you know what you know, it's like, oh, he probably put that in there for him.
And like, so there was a lot of accusations that he was getting a lot of these people drunk, boys and girls, by the way. I won't just say that it was girls, but he was kind of doing a lot of stuff. And they filmed in Florida, and Florida have laws that don't necessarily protect children. So he was doing it all within law, and Nickelodeon knew about all this, but because he was producing by the way,
hit television shows. Yeah, money is king.
The ratings for these shows, for kids shows, was pretty huge. Like, they were pouring out like 6.2s in their heyday. Like, that's a pretty big number for a children's show that airs at 5 p.m. on Nickelodeon. Like, that's a pretty big deal. But like, I distinctly remember, and people that watch Victorious will know this, there was this thing that they had that was like a social media aspect of Victorious. It was like a created like Facebook, but it was called The Slap. And you could like, create an account. And there was an episode where, there was a thing on The Slap that encouraged kids to send in feet pics. Really? And because you're a child, you're like,
you're going to do that. You just think, oh, this is goofy.
But he was getting them and probably seeing them. And in retrospect, now that all this is, and a lot of people are now carrying out, I know Ariana Grande hasn't said too much, but she's obviously one of the biggest stars to ever come from Nickelodeon. And if she started saying some stuff, you could imagine the kind of shit that would go down. But Miranda hasn't said too much stuff. I know Miranda Cosgrove hasn't really said a lot. But like, there is the way that, so Zoe 101 was Jamie Lynn Spears.
Yeah.
So Britney Spears' little sister, and famously that show ended because she was 16 and got pregnant. And there's a lot of talk about that. If you can put the two dots together, that I won't go into. But yeah. So, and this is the way that kind of ended, and a lot of people from Zoe 101 has now come out and said a lot of stuff about him, and producers around him, not just him, but just like producers around Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon knowing about all of these stuff going on, and then just kind of like, whatever. Drake and Josh was another big show in...
Yeah, I know that show.
Drake Bell and Josh Peck, that was like... That was a big show for Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And Miranda Cosgrove was also in that, and like...
Yes.
She was the little sister. So, you could imagine, I feel like in the years to come, there's going to be a lot more people talking out about this, and there's going to be a lot of shit that goes down. But yeah, it's a very intense topic. But speaking of, School of Rock, by the way, Miranda Cosgrove.
I was just going to say, you mentioned it a while ago. I was going to be like, all-timer.
Oh, I can watch that movie over and over. Jack Black is fucking hilarious. And just like, the kids in that movie they're
the
funny.
kids make the movie. The kids make the movie.
Again,
you know, like Jack Black is the star. I mean, clearly,
sure.
But the kids
Ned Schneebly
really make that
Schneebly.
Yeah,
Mr. S because he can't spell
Then
it.
the lead guitarist kid though, he got in trouble. He was like Robin. He got in trouble with the law.
Was it the lead guitarist
during COVID?
Was it the lead guitarist? I thought it was the drummer.
No, it wasn't the drummer. It was the kid with the black.
Oh, it was okay. It was him. Didn't he play? Wasn't his name Zack in the movie?
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't watched that movie in a hot minute. I'll pop that on later.
It's a great movie.
That's a great movie. You think about the concept of that movie, and it's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Oh my god, it's absurd. It's absurd.
But like,
he kidnaps those kids.
He does, and he's pretending to be someone else.
Yeah, he's literally identity fraud.
By the way, it always pops me that Sarah Silverman's in that movie.
Oh yeah,
and she's fucking whoa. You listen to some of the shit that she says. Oh, do you remember the Sarah Silverman show?
Oh my god, yeah.
Do you remember when the Poos did a song? When she had she did a poo, and then the Poos sang, and she sang a song about poo.
No, I don't remember that.
By the way, if you've ever watched the Sarah Silverman show, that would probably sound so normal to you because that show was
out there.
That was messed up. That show
was out there.
Do you like Sarah Silverman?
I do.
I do as well. I kind of like that.
Again, like I
kind of like that humor.
I love that.
Do you like Whitney Cummings?
I love her stand up. Oh yeah.
And like that Chelsea Handler to me is hilarious.
I'm not into her as much as I'm into.
I love Chelsea Handler because I get it. Some of the stuff she says. I
like how she gives no fucks. I appreciate
no fucking.
She's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say what I can. I'm gonna say what I want to say, whether you like it or not. I don't give a fuck. But she does that, and she doesn't say dumb shit. Like she says, like,
yeah, it's like with purpose.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's not just like just say stuff to say stuff. Like she's just
exactly.
And I get that. Like some of the stuff in it, I'm like, ooh. But Chelsea Handler to me, pioneer for women in late night, by the way, because there was no one else doing
for sure.
it. No one else doing it, and there's not really any women in late night right now that I don't watch late night, but from my
still
understanding,
old white man.
Yeah, old white man, and they're. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jimmy Kimmel.
I like Jimmy Fallon.
I don't like
Jimmy
Fallon.
Kimmel's the best though.
Fallon laughs at his own jokes too much, and I can't stand it. It does my fucking head in. But he has great games.
Kimmel is the best though.
Kimmel's the best.
And I like Colbert. Yeah,
I don't mind. I do not. I know he's stopped now, but James Corden can suck a fat one. I can't stand James Corden. He's so irritating.
A lot of people did not like that gentleman.
I don't like that gentleman. Nothing at him as a person. He just wasn't funny. But but there's no real women in late night. She was. I know there's others since her, but they haven't really succeeded. Like I know she was on E, and it was a little bit different. Yeah. She had that Netflix show for a hot minute.
I was gonna say she had a show there.
But like she didn't. I know, like you said, like that like Whitney Cummings, Sarah Silverman, Chelsea Handler type of those women in comedy. They make me laugh. As a person who's not like the biggest stand-up guy, I like. I guess it's just kind of those women that are a bit like. What would be the word? Not, I guess, intense for a lack of a better term, but they just kind of say what's on their mind.
Yeah, they're very. I would say like they don't give a fuck. Like they're just like, hey, again, and I think this is just part of movement forward in society, but like, not too far along from
women aren't funny
today. Women were not supposed to talk like that.
No,
women didn't talk like that.
No,
women didn't talk about sexual things of that nature on stage and make it funny and make it serious and make it like that wasn't part of what women did, unfortunately.
No.
So there you can tell that part of their thing is like, I don't give a fuck about any, like I'm gonna say what I want, how I want. And if you don't fucking like it or it makes you cringe, go the fuck home. Don't care.
Pretty much, which I appreciate.
I love it. I think we need more of that. I think a woman in late night would be fantastic in general. Like, whenever I know you don't like him, but whenever Jimmy Fallon's like, you know what, I'm going to give up the Tonight Show. Why couldn't a woman host that show?
Yeah, why couldn't?
Like, gives a shit.
I don't see the difference.
There's got to be someone. Why wouldn't somebody like a Whitney Cummings or a Sarah Silverman?
Or even a Chelsea Handler to get back.
Yeah, Chelsea Handler. Why not? She's proven she can do late night.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know.
Who knows?
But So you're not a big stand-up person in general?
I don't know. I don't like that. I think it's just the concept of stand-up is a little bit boring. Because it is just kind of like story, laugh. It depends on the person, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch. Like, that isn't fascinating to me. Not saying those people aren't funny. They can be funny in situations, and I'll like listen to them on a podcast or I'll watch, whatever. But it's just it's a little bit like I get a little bored with stand up.
Yeah,
like I didn't know Whitney Cummings because of her stand up per se. I knew her because of her podcast, and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. So whatever that may entail, but. I don't know how the fuck we got here, by the way, but we're here.
We said it's going to be because we're coming up on an hour, I think, around close to it. And we said like even right before we were like, we don't know. Yeah, we're just gonna. We had no agenda, nothing. So we had a good one. We went everywhere. We talked about whatever.
Whatever. Oh, that's right. We were talking about School of Rock, and then we talked about Sarah Silverman. Fantastic. That's how we got there. But School of Rock is one of Jack Black's finest works, and he's done a lot of great things. Man, that man was Kung Fu Panda. So Tenacious D, by the way.
Tenacious D is fantastic.
Yeah, great music, by the way.
Yeah, it's actually like pretty good music.
Tribute is one of the best songs ever.
I was gonna say Tribute is a fantastic song. Like that is.
I know what we have to talk about before we run away because we're big music nuts. Did you see Shane Hawkins play for the Foo Fighters? Like
I did. Did you watch that whole set?
I watched bits of it. I didn't watch it all. But wow. And I watched times like these, and Dave Grohl could not get through it.
I was gonna say Dave Grohl was emotional at times, and it made me emotional. I might have a tough exterior.
Oh, I'm a jelly belly.
I'm a baby. I'm a wuss when it comes to
I cry about anything.
I've seen commercials that have made me like, oh my god. You know what I mean?
I see a dog come up on my Facebook feed, and I'm like, yep, time to cry.
Yeah, so that's how I am.
I was a blabbering mess. Do you think they'll continue, by the way? Do you think they're going to make more music? It's hard to say.
He was integral, and for so long they were all together. I mean,
that poor Dave Grohl, by the way. Hey, this happened.
Dude, I was going to say this is twice. This is twice that he's lost a close personal family member, bandmate, best friend, and 2 signature bands. Oh my god!
But brutal. Like, by the way, his little kid can.
And the fact that he did "My Hero," I was like,
great song, by the way. Man. The Adelaide Crows ran out to that song.
Oh, really? That's one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs. But the fact that he played that particular song, and it was like, man, God, it's just like his kid playing his drums. His drum notes on a song, "My Hero," that oh my god, it was
great stuff. Just like
it was good stuff. I watched the whole set. It was really good. The Foo Fighters are really good. They were whether it's still they are or they were in America, in my opinion, the last. You can make an argument for other bands, but I think they're the best American rock band of the last 10 to 15 years.
I'm not going to argue with you about that. I can tell you that. They're just a piece of music history. They'll live on
Dave Grohl as well is like
hilarious, man, by the way.
Oh my god, so good.
You ever watch his Hot Ones episode?
No, I haven't, and I watch a lot of Hot Ones.
You need to watch it. It's probably the best Hot Ones episode. They get fucking drunk.
Oh, I love it.
And good. Sean, Dave, like the host, gets drunk.
I could listen to Dave Grohl interviews for all time.
The way his mind works for music is fascinating. Genius. Also, he doesn't. You would think, he's just gonna like one. He likes
everything.
Like he'll listen to bubblegum pop music, analyze it, and go, "This is a good piece of music." Or he'll listen to fucking the hardest, heaviest rock you can think of, and go, "This is a good piece of music." Like he just like he loves Lord. Have you ever heard him talk about Lord?
Oh my god, yeah. No, I haven't heard him talk about Lord.
He loves Lord. He said the way that woman's brain just kind of operates with music, he thinks it's like one of the most genius people in the world. He also loves Kesha.
I love Kesha.
Me too. That shit that she went through.
I've seen Kesha live.
Is she a good live act?
She was, but this was she's in a far better place now.
She was not in a good. Her music has changed so much too.
Good shit.
Also, did you see her sing?
Good shit that
did you see her sing? That she has got a great rock voice.
I have not. I've not seen anything recently of my girl Kesha.
I'll send it to you after, and it's like,
yeah, send it a link. I'll watch it.
You should sing because she's got that rasp, like
yeah,
you know, like Miley Cyrus has done a lot of stuff, like, and she has that.
Miley Cyrus,
underrated,
damn good, yeah.
Everyone,
I think I saw her do
when she pop music is not her range.
Metallica.
She sang Nothing Else Matters, baby.
Damn right, and I was like, fuck yeah.
She was singing with Metallica. By the way, Metallica don't do that with everybody.
No.
Especially on Nothing Else Matters, which is arguably their greatest piece of music.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's an iconic song of theirs. That's like a Mount Rushmore song for them.
She did it, and she did it justice, by the way.
It was good. It was good.
Also, I'd be silly not to mention what's happened in the last couple of days with my favorite band, Paramore. They're starting to...
ready for something.
Have I got a piece of story for you? So if you go to their website, paramore.net, it's now a blank white page with dates and some words by them. And they've got like little things. There was like the 9th of September. It was wrong with the letter 0 and they happened to leak a part of their song. They released it. And then on the 12th of September, they had a thing called LA. And they announced new LA shows to their tour and then leaked another part of their song on TikTok. And by the way, I will let you know that this song, low quality, low quality, and it like builds and builds and builds, and then you just hear drums and a heavy guitar riff. I'm like, Paramore are just letting loose here. And so the 28th of September they have listed as start spreading the good news. So I think it might be
they'll probably release a single,
and then start to say, hey, our album's coming on this date. And I'm very, very, very excited. I'll send you the 2 videos as well as that other thing. And it's low quality. They did it from a recording studio on purpose, but they kind of released it in their Discord.
Yeah, you don't want to tease it too much.
Oh, and it's her vocals you can hear, and you can hear the guitar riff in it. I'm like, it sounds like very the self-titled record, which is my favorite record, which has songs like, I won't go into it, but the self-titled era, the one before the last, so not After Laughter, which was a bit like vibey and fun, the one before that, but it has very elements of old Paramore in there, I will say. But yeah, I'm very excited for that, and you know that when that song comes out, I'm going to probably give you a whole hour's fucking breakdown of what I'm like, it's the stuff that I just live for. But yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Right.
It's been
I'm excited too.
Very exciting.
I'm a Paramore fan.
Oh,
After Laughter wasn't really my thing.
Oh, I love
wasn't
After
really my
Laughter.
thing. But I am a fan of theirs. I still listen to those first 3 records on a regular basis.
You need to listen to the self-titled record. It's the best, musically, their best work they've ever done. It's their. They only ever have won 1 Grammy in their entire career, which is fucking cooked to me. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But Ain't It Fun won a Grammy, and it's the only song they've ever won a Grammy for, and it's on that record, and that record is masterpiece from start to finish. That thing has interludes. That thing has, it's just, it's 17 tracks of pure greatness. I can tell you that. And you need to get on that, because if you think Riot is good, if you think Brand New Eyes is good, Paramore is their best.
My favorite. For most of my, I would say my more intense Paramore fandom, like when I was super duper into them, All We Know Is Falling was my favorite.
That was their first album.
Yeah, and that was my favorite. And then all 3 of those records are fantastic, and even the 4th one, I just haven't given that as much time as I did the other ones. But the 3rd album,
Brand New Eyes,
I think over time, Brand New Eyes over time, I think.
By the way, for anyone that doesn't know what Brand New Eyes has, it has Ignorance, it has Decode, which is, by the way, one of their best
songs.
It's just that song is that song was for Twilight of all things, but it was it's a wonderful song. But that album is perfect, except for The Only Exception.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's their worst song in my opinion.
It's the only Paramore song that I think is pure ass.
Yeah,
Haley
I
hates
hear
it
that
too.
song and I'm like, this is easily
Haley won't play it.
Ever made.
Haley refuses to play it because she hates it.
But that was like one of their biggest hits, though. Which
because
is
it's so
crazy
boring. Because people love boring.
So bad.
Like that chorus is just like, ugh. It's just
like the way
yeah, I can't stand it.
What is happening?
They have so many, like every one of their songs is better than that.
Yeah. Oh
even
yeah.
she knows that song is trash, so it's okay to.
Mm.
As a Paramore fan, it's okay to not like
Yeah,
that
if she
song.
can trash on it, that means we all
If
can
Hayley
trash on
Williams is saying that it's not all right, then it's not all right.
it.
Because Hayley
Exactly.
Williams to me is like upper echelons of people. There's not a lot of people in this world that I'll just be like, yep,
you can do no,
you can do no wrong
whatever
right
you say.
now. I love
Whatever you
Hayley
say.
Williams.
She
Probably,
rules.
I mean, is Hayley the go-to female rock lead of this generation?
I mean, I think people's definitions of rock music are different.
Sure. Female-fronted band. In this generation.
There's not many of them. I mean, for me, it would, for me, it would be. But again, the last 5 years, I have paid less attention to them than I did the previous 5. So sure. I'm not one to speak on it.
She is, and then the only other people that I can think of in the last 20, 30 years is like Gwen Stefani of No Doubt.
Well, yeah, she was one of the first ones, of course.
But that was a very
one of the first ones, but you know what I mean, like Janis Joplin in the 60s. Like there were
fucking who I can't think of her name, but the
Debbie Harry was one of them. Blondie.
Yeah, Blondie. Fleetwood Mac obviously had
oh my god,
Stevie Nicks and
Stevie Nicks.
So like it's not like it's uncommon. It's just I'm just saying in the last 20 years, Hayley is really one of the biggest.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
She really is.
I mean, to me, she's number one.
To me, she's number one as well, but I'm biased as fuck, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah. When Paramore was at its height, I was in that wheelhouse. I was going to shows monthly. I was
great live acts, by the way. They are great live acts.
I've seen them, a lot.
They are terrific. And they are
terrific.
They are just great. They're one of those acts that like I honestly think I prefer live to a record.
Yeah.
Because their energy is a lot of fun. They have great live shows.
Yeah,
not the greatest live show I've ever seen. The greatest live show I've ever seen is Pink. I watched Pink live.
Really?
Oh my god, my mom was like needed someone to go with, and it was just like 2013, and she's like, "Please, will you come with me? Like, I'll buy you a ticket." It is I'm not a big Pink person. I don't love like the try hard aspect of Pink. I'm like, shut up. But like some songs, like I like the slower down ballads. Like she's great. Great voice. I'm not discrediting.
Great voice.
She's got a really great voice. But her live show with all the acrobatics that she does and just like the element of the live aspect of that is the greatest musical act I've ever seen live. And that's coming from someone that isn't the biggest Pink stan in the world.
No, I like Pink. I got no problem with her. She did an EP with with the guy from City and Keller, Dallas Green, and Alexis on Fire is one of my all-time favorites.
It was called You and Me?
Yes.
And she wasn't Pink on that though. She was like Alicia.
No, she wasn't. She was her real name. Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
It was very good.
Again, I'm not discrediting her voice. It's just some of the like I don't like songs like So What and stuff like that. That kind of like shut up. But like Who Knew and Sober and Nobody Knows and songs like that. Like when she that girl can sing. Like that girl can. I don't think people talk about her voice enough of just how great that voice, like just her voice is like that raspy. I love that raspy, like kind of husky voice. Like I like that, especially on a lady. It's a very nice quality. Like I love that when that hit. But by the way, Dallas Green is like, I'm not an Alexis on Fire guy, but I'm like City in Color.
City in Color,
yeah, because it's a bit.
Which I like City in Color too, but to me, I was born and raised with Alexis on Fire. They just released a new album for the first time in like 13 years or some shit. For them. A couple months.
A lot of bands are coming back, like My Chemical Romance.
They were just in Boston last week. They had played 2 nights in a row in Boston, like earlier, like middle to late last week.
It's crazy how bands are coming back around, and that style of music is coming back into the forefront.
Which I love. It should.
Yes and no. I hate gatekeeping, but it's one of those things I'm like, I wish no one would listen to it because I listen to it. I don't like gatekeeping, but it's like the one thing.
The youth need to hear some of this shit. No, I'm just kidding. But
we're both people that are like we're not anti any kind of music. We love music, and anything can be good. I'm a believer in that. Any kind of music can be good. There's good music and there's bad music. That's how I see music. It doesn't matter if it's Foo Fighters or Britney Spears. It can be good. Toxic is one of the greatest songs that's ever been created in the world. Toxic. What a song. Britney Spears. Britney just did a song with Elton John. They did Hold Me Closer. was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Britney's back in the fold, and freaking Taylor Swift is releasing new albums. And
I was gonna say, they just
Beyonce
announced a new album. She's doing something.
I didn't like the new Beyonce album. I'm on the record to say
that. A lot of people have
the
that.
Beehive will be out to get me, but I didn't like it.
Don't say it publicly. But you're not the only one I've heard. I've heard it wasn't.
I will say this publicly, and I'm gonna get crucified. Beyonce is overrated.
Oh my God, I will. I don't listen to her often, but I will 1,000%.
Again, I'm not discrediting the fact that she can sing. Her music is overrated though. She has some great songs. Crazy in Love will go down as like, I mean, how can you not get hyped to that song? But like, Destiny's Child though, sign me up.
Amazing.
Kelly Rowland is an underrated queen. I love Kelly Rowland. She is and Michelle Williams. She sang at WrestleMania, if you remember.
She did.
WrestleMania 22.
I do. Yeah, I
Get another raspberry voice.
Yep.
Love that shit.
That's your wheelhouse. That's your wheelhouse of lady singers. You like that?
Yeah, I do like that. But Destiny's Child is
fantastic.
There's not a lot of misses with Destiny's
Survivor.
Child. Independent Woman Part 1 is one of the greatest. Oh my God. For Charlie's
Survivor
Angels.
Is fantastic. Even the earlier ones like Bills.
Oh, what a song. Say My Name.
Great song. Say My Name.
Jumpin', Bootylicious. Let's go.
Bootylicious is real good. Yep.
Destiny's Child. That was a good era. Late 90s era was.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
As a 90s boy, as a 90s baby, I'm very happy with the music of my time.
I agree. I think it's aged well, actually.
Mm-hmm. That R&B sound that was coming into the forefront.
I think mid to late 90s in a lot of different genres.
But mid
to late 90s. Oh my God, they have. It's aged well. I think it's aged well.
Oh,
Alanis Morissette on HBO. If anybody has HBO, they do a documentary. It was called Jagged, and it's fantastic. Very good. Fantastic documentary. About that album and about all the shit that she dealt with for being a woman and all that, fantastic documentary. It's probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's movie length. But it is
Jagged Little Pill is one of the greatest fucking
all-time greatest. That album has 13 songs and 10 of them were radio singles.
And 10! By the way, 13 of them are non-skips. You cannot skip on that album.
10 hits.
Here's a good
absurd.
question to end this fucking conversation. What is the greatest Alanis Morissette song ever, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I like "Hand in My Pocket." That's my favorite.
Oh, I would.
But Ironic is also fucking wonderful.
I don't.
But again, You Ought to Know is the one that came out of nowhere, and it's like that was her saying, "Hey, fuck you. All right, I'm here."
I would probably say Ironic.
Yeah.
But it's 1A and 1A.2. Hand in My Pocket.
I love Hand in My Pocket. It's such a great fucking song. But that album, so I watched that documentary. And again, I haven't listened to that album in a long time at this point. Yeah. But I watched that documentary and so much time had passed that you forget. You obviously know You Ought to Know, Ironic, Hand in My Pocket, but you forget the other four because they were not as big as hits as those ones. But there's also You Learn is fucking great song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna brain fart it.
Yeah, sure.
But there's 2 or 3 other songs that are oh fuck yeah.
And some of them
those are great songs.
You listen to them and you go, wait a minute, this is
song on that record.
You're like, oh wait, this is Alanis Morissette. Yeah, I do know this song. That's how it feels. It is a great.
Everyone go listen to Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah,
That's
please.
What we should do tonight before we go to bed, go listen to Jagged Little Pill.
It's a great
all-time album.
I would say, all-timer.
Landmark album.
Well, as we wrap things down, I've only got 2 more. There's 3 more games of football left for the year.
Oh, my football just started.
I did see that. When I was out
still
for
wearing
lunch
their
yesterday,
hat, even though
I was out for lunch yesterday. Obviously, it airs in the daytime
Sunday,
here. But Monday Night Football was on when I was out for lunch yesterday, and I was watching it, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, I don't understand the concept of this game, but I get why people like it. It's like with any sport, I get it. But we got 3 more games of footy this week, and 2 more games this week, and then grand final is next week. So next week's episode, I'm sorry to anybody, but it's going to be very grand final of AFL focus because I don't know who's going to be in it yet. We've got 2 preliminary finals this week to find out who's playing in the grand final next Saturday. And any footy fan knows that it's just like, oh, but that means footy is over until next year. And that's like, I know women's footy is on, but it's not the same. But it's sad. It's just really sad. So we've got
it's always the worst when like you know the sport's ending and you're like, I gotta go like 4 or 5 months without any of this shit.
So we've got we had a big upset last week. Last year's premiers, the Melbourne Demons, they're out of here. Brisbane Lions beat them, and nobody thought that was going to happen. And so Brisbane are through to the prelims against the number 1 team who won the minor premiership. So they finished on the top of the ladder. That's Geelong. The Geelong Cats. So they'll play each other on Friday night, and then on Saturday afternoon, the Sydney Swans are taking on Collingwood. So, and that's over in Sydney too. So Sydney have the home field advantage.
All right, we'll see.
And then we'll see what happens. But by the way, everybody, after last week's episode, I sat JPJ down and we watched some football. We didn't watch a whole game because it goes for a while, but we had about an hour. We watched some football.
We
and then JPJ was like, oh shit. I think I
just
like
understood
this.
it. Yeah, I was like, I could see myself if it was regularly on television for me. I could easily see myself.
I found out it is.
Yeah. I'm going to have to record the games though because they're on early.
They're on early. But like JPJ, I was sitting there watching his reactions. He was like, no, I understand this concept. I get it.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. It's a pretty good sport.
Yeah. I could see myself, obviously, with only 3 games left. I'm not going to involve myself this year, but I can see myself when next year starts, months down the line, being like, all right, I'm gonna check it out.
He also asked me. He said in it, this is word for word what he said. He goes, "Is there any teams other than Port Adelaide that you would like shun me for?"
Correct.
Because he doesn't want to get yelled at. And I was like, "No, only Port Adelaide. Like if JPJ goes for Port Adelaide, like this would be the end of this podcast."
Yeah, and that's why I asked that because I knew it would be.
And
I was like, is there any other teams that you would?
He wants to watch it and just naturally. I'm not going to say enforce him to fucking go for the Adelaide Crows. I get it; they're not for everybody. But like, if he goes to Port Adelaide, there will be conversations had.
But I don't. But now I think even if I did like them, I wouldn't.
Good, because they're trash.
I'd be like, I can't.
Port Adelaide, the Port Adelaide power can suck my farts. Fuck you.
There you go. On that note,
my boys. But you can go for any other team. Maybe not Carlton, but you could probably still go for Carlton. And I wouldn't.
We'll figure it out. But I did the same thing with the English Premiership for soccer when it started being shown over here regularly. I was like, you know what? I'm going in open. I'm a free agent.
Yeah,
that's kind of exciting right here. I'm gonna watch whatever games I'm awake for or record. I'm gonna see what players I like. I'm gonna figure it out.
I have to go for the Adelaide Crows because that's what my family did. So you just you become instilled in that. It's like that's my team. But it is kind of fascinating to be like an open field and you're just like, I'm going to watch these teams. I already have it in my brain who I think you're going to go for. Because I just have that in my brain. I'm like, JPJ, the way his brain works, I think he's going to go for this team because I feel like that's what you would be like. But it'll be fascinating to watch you and just be like, what are you going to like?
Yeah.
What are you going to like?
Yeah.
And then I can judge you accordingly on that.
Yeah.
Of how this country views those fans.
There we go. But yeah, I think next year I'm gonna try to.
It's a fascinating game.
I'm gonna dive in,
and I've tried to start watching a little bit more basketball.
I love basketball. It's like
there is an Australian league over here.
Yeah, Australia's usually the United States dominates.
Oh, of course,
because we have all the pros playing, so it's not fair. But Australia is like team. They've beaten us before. Like they've played us close. So your national team is usually in the medal or somewhere up in the higher realm of things. It's usually you, Spain, Argentina, sometimes in the U.S., but it's usually you, Spain, and the U.S. are like, and then they'll throw in like Lithuania, like some, I think like, oh my God, I'm not going to remember. But anyway, but you've always been
we have the Adelaide 36ers, and I know that Josh Giddey come from there, and he now plays for the NBA.
He does, and he's a good player.
So
that team that he's on is fucking awful though.
Plays
he's
for
a good player.
I want to guess. Wait,
Oklahoma. Oh God, no, sorry.
I don't know what Oklahoma's things are. I was going to say the Hornets, but that's not right.
No, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Thunder, right? Gotcha.
Thunder. Yeah, Thunder.
Thunder. I mean, I say Thunder as well. Thunder down under.
Yeah,
because my brother loves basketball, he goes for the Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio, that's his team.
Where the Royal Rumble is next year.
Yeah, in the Alamo Dome, baby.
Yeah, going back to the Alamo Dome.
We didn't talk about a minute of wrestling on this whole show.
No.
Whoa.
It's pretty good. Well, we just did, so technically.
Well, I mean, it's the end of the episode.
It doesn't count. No, this was a wrestle-free episode. So.
Yeah, there you go.
And there was wrestling to talk about too, but it was wrestle-free. We just, we said we were winging it, and we talked about other shit. So.
Hell yeah. I'm down with that. But next week's episode, guys, will be probably fairly AFL focused because I'm going to be breaking down and analyzing what goes on into the grand final. JPJ will be here, and I'll kind of, I'll let him know. He'll know. He knows from my tweets who wins the fucking games because I'm on holidays, baby. I can watch these whole games from start to finish on Friday night and on Saturday afternoon. So JPJ will see and he'll know who's in the grand final. And we got Robbie Williams playing with Kylie Minogue for our fucking halftime show. They're gonna do that song, Kids. Do you remember that song?
I do remember that song.
Jump on board. Feel the ride, yeah. Great song, Kylie Minogue. Shout out to her. Yeah. And Robbie Williams is fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
He had that one song. For me, at least in the States, he had that one
I know
song.
he's British, but I'm sure he was huge in England. He was pretty big here, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, he had one song where he was like kind of the it guy for like half a summer. And then everyone was like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. But, Kylie Minogue had one song over there too, so it's fine. Well, she had two.
That song was a huge hit. Na 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 na. That song was a fucking.
She had like
a million times.
Like 9 albums.
I heard that song a million times that summer.
She had like 9 albums. That was the song. And all of them went like number one here. Like she was she's Australia's sweetheart for a lot of time.
There's a band, and they're not at the level of like that kind of thing. But there's a band. I know we've been dragging on the end of this show forever. There's a band there. They're out of Scotland. Their name is Biffy Clyro, and they're one of my favorite bands. And in the UK, they sell out Wembley Stadium. Mm. And when they come over here, I saw them in a club with 54 people.
Yeah, it is strange how some things don't translate. Some things don't translate to America because
very bizarre.
One of our greatest pop stars, Delta Goodrem, one of the biggest.
Never heard of her.
Exactly.
Girl.
Guy, Delta Goodrem. Yeah, she is one of Australia's most famous, beautiful voices in the world. Had Innocent Eyes, her debut album in 2003, is still the highest selling Australian pop singer in history. Like nothing has ever topped it. And she never went famous in the States. UK, huge. Here, huge.
I never heard of her.
Never went famous in America, and no one understands why. Like we have bands over here that you've never heard of that are big here.
Yeah.
Like it's just so bizarre how it's like we're just tucked away. But the UK love us. I don't I don't understand it, but like Hands Like Houses are an Australian band.
Well, I know who they are. I know who they are.
You know who you are because you love music.
Yeah.
But they're not huge in the States.
No.
But they're just a band from Canberra. It's just like
it's weird.
What the fuck? And like I can see them over here in like bumfuck nowhere, and they're there, and I don't understand it, and they're just like, I'm like, why aren't the rest of the world paying attention? Like Delta Goodrem, for anyone Australian that's listening to this, and I say the words Delta Goodrem, they're like, yep, we know who she is. She was on Neighbours. She did her thing. She had all these songs. Like, you know how we talked about Alanis Morissette with like 10 hit singles off a thing? That was Innocent Eyes. That record had like number one songs. Like there was like 6 or 7 off of a 10 track album. And it's like,
pretty good.
But no one in the rest, like other than the UK, America has no idea who Delta Goodrem is.
No idea.
So it's bizarre to me how it doesn't translate. Yeah. And I'm sure there's people from America that never made it over here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And like, but it's just weird how we look to America. The rest of the world looks to America as the entertainment capital of the world. But America won't accept our people that like they don't.
No, because America wants, and we can end on this, because America wants everyone to look at them like we're the entertainment capital of the world. But America wants to keep their, like, they don't give a fuck.
America loves
you know
America.
What I mean? Yes. America loves ourselves some America. And so it's like, and this is why I say, clearly there have been European, Australian, all sorts of different nationality musicians who have had long, successful careers in America. But this is why people like Kylie Minogue and people like Robbie Williams only have one-hit wonders, because for a lot, unless you're like and Kylie Minogue might be, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but unless you're like Americans aren't drawn to that, I feel like, because they're not American. A lot of Americans, not everybody.
There's always exceptions to the rule. AC/DC is an Australian band, and they're
AC/DC, huge.
But some people don't even realize they're Australian.
I think that's part of it. But like there are certain people that I've like literally seen people I know. They'll hear them in an interview and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know they were English."
Yeah, no. So I'm not.
And I'm like, yeah.
You.
And then
I've
they'll be like,
to Americans,
I thought they were American.
And they're like, who's an Australian that me? I'm like, no, and I'm like, I don't know, like Nicole Kidman, Iggy Azalea. They're like, Iggy Azalea is from Australia. I'm like, yeah,
she is.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman is probably our greatest export.
I was going to say, is she the queen? Like, is she the queen export? Like the most famous?
The problem with Nicole Kidman is that she left Australia and left Australia.
Well, her husband is also Australian, Keith Urban, right?
Yeah.
No, is he American? Australian.
He's Australian. He's on The Voice here.
Yeah,
he's a coach.
Is he a big deal? Is he a big deal in Australia?
I mean, to me, but I'm a generation behind with him.
Got it.
But like we had him.
So Nicole Kidman, Nicole
Kidman is like pretty royalty. Like she is. Like I get it. Yeah. Like if people ask like, about Australians, like Nicole Kidman, like she's our thing. But like, I could go through a list of people from this country that are huge, and you'd be like, they're Australian.
Yeah.
Because like some people you don't even realize that are Australian.
Well, I would say, what about Hemsworth?
Oh, yeah, the Hemsworth boys. Yeah, I guess Chris.
I mean, particularly
Chris. I guess
would be
Liam somewhat, but Chris.
Yeah, but I would say like Chris Hemsworth is probably high up.
They all started. Hugh Jackman's another one that's like.
Oh yeah.
Hugh Jackman's like a big deal. You know what we need to do one day? We need to do we need to do like an Australian quiz against you and see how much you fucking don't know or
next week. We'll talk about the AFL.
Let's do an Australia episode next week where I just quiz you on Australian shit and you'll be like, what?
I bet you I'll get a few right.
You probably would. Get your thinking cap on. We'll talk some.
I will.
AFL Grand Final goes straight fucking with it, so it's all works, and I can just be Australian as all hell. I'm going to say so many Australian phrases to you, and you're going to be like, what does that mean? It's almost like it's a different language. I've talked to Americans before and they're like, what words are you saying? And I'm just like, baby, I turn it off here because I need to speak in an articulate way. But I can turn my accent on. I mean, I wouldn't say that I have a thick accent. I don't think I do, but some people think I do. But I guess I can.
Let's go.
I mean, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I'll be ready. Let's go.
All right, get your thinking cap on. All right. Well,
we've tried in a future episode, I'll give you a United States of America quiz. I am not going to be pro-America though, because
I'm very pro-Australia. I'm an Australian boy. I'm very happy.
No, I am pro-America. Like I'm proud to be from America, but I'm not pro-America to the point where like I hate people because I think I'm an American.
I mean, true.
You know what I mean?
You're not like a piece of shit.
I'm not like, I'm American, so that means I cannot like certain people. It's like, no. You're a fucking moron is what you are. But cool. All right, cool.
I think it would probably be a little bit different because I know so much about America just because the world was wired that way. But it would still be different. I don't know a lot of stuff about America. I'm going to hit you with geography questions. I'm going to hit you with sport questions. I'm going to hit you with
I'm going to do some research in my free time.
You can just
get some basics, basic facts in the brain. And a little
Australia quiz.
I'll be ready to go.
JPJ versus Australia. Remember that episode of The Simpsons, Bart versus Australia? I do. Everyone knows that episode because the water goes the other way. Because they talk like this for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, but the toilet flushes the other way. Goes the other way. That's the big takeaway.
That's not a bad Australian accent. The way you said "way,"
I just did that.
You sounded like you were talking "way."
Way.
Yeah, it's not bad. Some people can't get Australian.
The water goes the other way. That's all. I can say one word well. All right,
you can say one word.
I'm not going to try anymore because I'll embarrass myself.
Honorary Aussie. There you go. All right. Well, we've tried to wrap up about 6 times, but we are actually wrapping up now. We'll be back next Thursday, 2 days before the AFL Grand Final, and it'll be a nice little Australia time. We're going to talk all things Aussie It's going to be an Aussie-filled episode. I'm even going to change this graphic so it's fully Australian. It's going to be fucking Australian flag, and we'll sing the Australian national anthem. It'll be a big deal. It'll be a full Aussie episode, and I'm going to break out my full Aussie way of speaking. And so if you're Australian, you'll love next week's episode. And if you're not Australian, you'll probably still love that because it'll be so bizarre to you in some things. And you might learn some things about this nation, because I feel like we're a little bit tucked under the world sometimes. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. We're literally underneath everybody. So it's why we have such shitty internet. All right, well, we'll be back next Thursday. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. Of course, it's all across the screen. Like, share, subscribe, all of that wonderful stuff. And we will see you next week on an All Aussie edition of the J&J Power Hour.